Hey! Before you get started, hit that subscribe button. Oh, hit that like button too. Thank you. Woo-wee! You know what that whistle means? It's game time. Let's get it. This video is sentimental to me. I've got daughters in the game. I always tell my daughters, be wise with your money. Be wise with your investment. Let your money work for you instead of you always working for the money. Let's get it. I want to start out by giving you a couple different perspectives of women involved with the stock market and women investors, etc. All right, let's get this thing going. Oh, and be sure to stay tuned all the way through the video so you can get the script on how to get started.
But I did still want to put out an episode to help those who might be in more of a winter arc season. But the version of that I want to talk about is investing in ourselves.
What she's trying to tell you is, don't be afraid. Invest in you. Let's get it.
I'm 21 years old because today is actually my birthday. I'm gonna have a birthday surprise at the end of the video. I figured it was time that I told my story. The only time I've ever told my story about how I went from $26 to $26,000. I really do believe that I'm one of I'm one of the world's best kept secrets because I'm not a normality. You don't really hear a story like mine. I like to believe I'm special because I believe everyone is special in their own way. I am 21 years old, but by the age of 20, I have made over $6.5 million. And it's actually insane because 2 years ago, I had a negative bank account balance and I never thought that would be the case. Like I thought, yeah, maybe one day in my future, and I've always believed in myself. Like generally, I didn't think it'd be as fast as going from negative to over $6.5 million. Like I didn't think that was the case, but apparently, God can work in mysterious ways. Let's tell my story very briefly. When I was in high school, I would walk around and ask for money. I know it's embarrassing, don't judge me, okay? But every single Friday, we had what was called like Cookie Friday, and so they would sell 2 Otis Spunkmeyer cookies for $1 and didn't even have $1 to my name that you could casually find on the street. You could buy 4 quarters, 100 pennies, whatever it is, to purchase a cookie. And it was very embarrassing, a very cringy moment. I never want to go back to it. But I had a lot of passions in high school that led to kind of sparking who I am today. So one of them, I kind of went viral for this. I had a Steph Curry fan page called Daily Curry Feed, how people would make edit videos for athletes. I was that person. I really learned how to edit on a small little Android. I said, I'm going to be that girl. So going to high school, seeing a bunch of athletes that want to go D1, I said, okay, one thing about being an athlete and trying to get coaches to recruit you is you have to send recruitment videos. And for a lot of them, their recruitment videos are the same, so they can't stand out. The coach isn't gonna be like, this guy is so good because his video looks like his and his and his. So I was like, I'm gonna make them custom edit videos. And I charged $5. I did. They were actually pretty good videos. It was hard for me starting out though, because I went from a small little Android that has really small pixelation to a big mega computer, and I didn't really know how to edit on like Final Cut Pro, but I did get a lot of really good videos out. I was able to connect with a lot of D1 athletes, some of which are now in the NFL, including Cam Taylor-Britt. He's one of the people that I worked with, and we check in from time to time. He currently plays for the Cincinnati Bengals. From there, my aunt, she used to sell jewelry, so one day she came to me and she said, Kelly, do you want to sell this jewelry for me? And I was like, yeah, like sure. She'd give me jewelry, and I would buy it for like $2, resell for like $20, because the jewelry was made of titanium plated gold. And if you know anything about titanium, well, it doesn't rust. So this was gold that you could wear in the shower, you could wear for years. I know because I still have it to this day, and I know some of my friends that still wear them to this day. It was kind of awesome that I was able to sell it to them for 1,000% return, but it's an investment that was completely worth it for them. From there, I started reselling shoes, and that's where I really started to find a passion. Like I was a hustler. I've done so many things, but reselling shoes is what actually made me my first $1,000 and got me scammed out of over $1,000. But we will get to that story another day. A lot of things in high school shaped me because I started to see that there were different wealth classes. My family, we were never the wealthiest. My parents, they came from Nigeria, so I'm a first generation American. They worked so hard for every single thing. I remember we used to have a rule when we would go back to school. You got 2 shirts and 1 pair of jeans, and I had 3 sisters before I had my little brother. We would literally just re-rotating our shirts and pants and shoes because we didn't have have enough money to truly be able to go and splurge. We always shopped at the thrift store. Fancy thrift store is Plato's Closet. That was like shopping designer for us. You know, but I always just knew deep down that I was going to be something different. I was going to be an answer to my family. I was going to help my mom out of the situation she was in, really be able to bless them. You know, just thinking back on those days, you don't realize when you're in it, you realize when you're out of it, just how much we were really struggling. But it also ignited this flame in me. Lastly, honestly, the craziest thing I probably did in high school as a side hustle was resell Popeye's chicken sandwiches, which a lot of people kind of know me for. I resold Popeye's chicken sandwiches, and essentially my aunt gave me $50, and she said, Kelly, go buy 3, one for me, one for you, one for your brothers. I took the 50, I bought a bunch of Popeye's chicken sandwiches, sold them for like $10, made like $170, and then gave her back the 50. I was really getting good with this shoe business, reselling shoes, like really deep in my side hustles, taking school seriously, graduated cum laude.
Here's my call to action. First thing you need to do is subscribe, like the video, turn your notifications on, and leave some comments so you continue to get this free and extremely important information. Just want to let you know, if you feel compelled, hit that pause button for a second and send us a Cash App. Every little bit helps. Our programs are geared towards kids and those who are underprivileged, and we want to thank you. Stay locked in now. It's about to get real good.
So the very first thing that I would tell people, the very first thing that you have to understand when it comes to trading is just learn how to chart. Man, just learn how to chart. I cannot tell you how much learning how to chart took my trading from here to like there. I mean, it was insane because I was so focused on, I'm gonna copy what this person's posting on Twitter. I'm gonna start joining a bunch of groups and just copying each and every single thing that they say. And basically I'm gonna cheat my way to making a lot of money trading by spending months and months and months copying instead of months and months and months learning. And you'd be shocked if you make, let's say you're in my group for 4 months, you make $5,000 each month copying us, right? And that's $20,000 that you make over the course of 4 months. That's great. Now, if you would value our educational section, where what we do is we teach you exactly how to trade the way we trade, or you watched anybody else on YouTube and you learned how to actually chart, you would be shocked how that $20,000, if you'd spend those months studying, should already be like $40,000, $50,000, $60,000. I know it's difficult. Take your time, be patient with it. The money is gonna come. It doesn't have to come tomorrow. It's going to come. So literally learn how to chart. I cannot tell you how much. And in learning how to chart, forget the indicators. You don't need a bunch of indicators. You can chart, and every single person I know that is an amazing charter uses no indicators. You don't need them. Indicators are usually delayed in their data, meaning when they're finally showing you something, it's either already happened, it's late, and I've gotten messed up so many times. I used to be in love with an indicator called the RSI, the Relative Strength Index, and essentially it tells you when a stock is about to pop, and I used to just, when it would go below, I would just start buying a bunch thinking it's gonna go up, and then it'll just start going like this, and it doesn't shoot up, and I lose so much money. I didn't actually get really good until I let go of that indicator, and I said, I know how to chart myself because I spent so much time studying this. I don't need pre-made indicator that's not gonna correctly predict the market, because the market is made by the market makers, which are the big banks, and if the big banks know that we're gonna make money, they're not gonna do what we're gonna do, they're gonna do the opposite. So yeah, forget indicators, learn how to chart, manage your risk. A lot of people talk about managing risk and they make it seem as simple as, you don't even really know risk. Okay, let's talk about risk for a second. When you manage your risk, it is truly going in saying, I am going in with $300 into this trade. If this trade goes to the absolute floor because some crazy news comes out, I am okay with losing $300. If I ask you right now, if you're okay with losing $300 and you say no, knowing that there's a potential to still make money, but you still say, I do have the potential of making 1,000, but I have the potential of losing 300. I don't want to lose 300 if I don't make that 1,000. But if you put $100 up and you're like, man, $100, I accidentally make that in my sleep. I'll let $100 go to waste because I'll make it back tomorrow, but you'll risk $100 to make 600, then do it. But if you hesitate for a second of losing that, if you start thinking of, but I need to pay for it, take it out. Because if you lose that money, you're not right and really sound with that money going away. And we don't want that. You need to learn to manage your risk. It is so important. I couldn't preach it enough. I seriously couldn't. Now, the fourth thing is to drown out the noise. So many people look at somebody making $50,000 a day, $10,000 a day, $100,000 a day, $5,000 a day, and they automatically get upset if their first trade was $30. If for the first month of trading, they're only making $4 a day, $40 a day, $100 a day. It is not a 1 month journey. Every single person you know that is a 6-figure or millionaire trader that is consistently profitable, they've they've been trading for years, whether it's 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 years, it doesn't matter. They've been trading for years. And so for a lot of people, your 1 month progress, you're comparing to somebody's 7-year progress. And that's why you continue to stay where you're at in trading. That's why a lot of people give up when trading, because they're too focused on somebody else's journey. You're looking at somebody else's cake. You don't realize that God said, when you finish this cake right here, I have a wedding cake coming for you. You got a slice of cake. They got a whole birthday cake. You have a wedding cake. But if you only focus on that slice and the fact that that slice is only 1/8 of what that person next to you has, you will never see the blessing that's on the other side. And so I need you to understand, when it comes to trading, it will get exponentially easier. And these are the things that I implemented before I said, you know what? Like, it's just, like, trading exploded. I learned technical analysis because I couldn't keep copying people. I couldn't keep relying on people. I didn't like the sense of, if I wanted to make money because I need to pay something, that I have to start searching through everything, through Twitter, through Discord groups. I want to be able to be confident enough to wake up and be that person that I want to make money today. No problem. I'm going to look at the charts. I got it. Indicators slowed me down. Once I took off indicators, it shot up. I've had a ton of trading streaks. I've had a ton of winning streaks. I've had a ton of losing streaks. It happens to everybody, right? But you have to drown out the noise and you have to manage your risk. When you're having losing streak, don't let it hurt your psychology. It'll only hurt it if you're going in with money that you're not okay losing. And of course, if you don't care about $300 every single day and it adds up and you go 5 days, that's $1,500. But if you're risking $300 to make $1,000, it means that you usually are used to making $1,000. So you need to get into a trade with money that you know you can fall asleep and wake up and totally forget that money was there, and that will pay you the most. So I know I was a little fast paced in this video. I was feeling the spirit a little bit midway, but I really hope this helped you. I really do. And please take it from me. Take it from me being friends with, talking to, associating with multi-million-dollar traders. It's insane, and I want you to really take it seriously. All right. I cannot end this video without a prayer, so that is what I'm about to do. So if we can all close our eyes, bow our head. You don't have to, but God, I ask that each and every single person watching this video, that they took something from it, that it benefited them, it helped them, inspired them, it motivated them, that when they go in the future and they go back and they trade, that they remember these 4 things, that they apply it, that they add it, that they don't compare themselves, Lord. For you yourself said, comparison is the thief of joy. Allow them to be able to prosper and benefit in each and every single thing that they do. So congrats on your trading journeys. I'm excited for you. I hope to hear a lot of great stuff.
Oh, this next little piece is real good. Stay tuned. Stay locked in. You're going to love it.
To be honest, my journey is quite interesting. Also, it's actually like a reoccurring just like theme in my life of me just fighting for myself, fighting for a voice, and being like, oh, I'll show you. Like, so in the beginning, so the mentor at the hotel I was working at the time was a #1 hotel in New York at that time, where there was a lot of events and a lot of celebrities that came to the hotel. And Elon came to the hotel at one point, and my manager had a Tesla. And he said, Tiff, this is the future. You need to invest in it. Like, you're upselling rooms. We just did Fashion Week. We did all these different things. Like, you know, you made so much money this month. Like, you should invest half of your check into Tesla. And that's exactly what I did. And I made a 5-figure return. And I was just like, oh, this is nice. I like it here. And that is how I started to look into investing a little bit more. So a part of my story that I don't tell much, but in between that time, I ended up joining a group called Blacklist in New York. And this group, there was a group of just like Black professionals that came together, and you know, they were like in the tech space, finance space, and at that time I was just in hospitality. And technically I didn't fit into their group or their guidelines of what they said their group should be. But for me, I had entertainment, I had media, and I had the background in CS. So they were like, even though she doesn't work for Google, she's not an engineer, she's not this, that, whatever, she has a lot of reach, right? She's at these events, she knows all these people, you know, she can add value in that way. And me joining this group, I never felt seen or valued as a woman. And a lot of the other women that were in the group, it was about 300 people, maybe about 4 or 5 of them were actually women. And we just never felt like we had a voice. But these guys were traders and investors, and they made a lot of money. And I'm just like, I want to learn. I made some money. And I remember just asking them all the time, like, can I have some help? And the co-founder at that time of the group, he just didn't have a lot of love for me wanting to learn this space. And I remember asking him all the time, and he would make time but not make time, or like made little snarky jokes that I didn't like, just felt inappropriate and all these things. And,
Wait,
you know.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think he didn't want you to learn?
I just think he didn't feel like I was smart enough. I don't think he felt like I could grasp it. I don't think he felt like, and then at that time he made a lot of money, and he would gatekeep naturally, even within amongst the guys. Like, he would share little nuggets. And for me, I just feel like, you know, even before me joining the Black group list, he just kind of looked at me as like, she's the influencer girl, you know, she's the pretty influencer girl that does the fashion events, you know, that's who she is. Like, what is she talking about? She wants to learn stocks, you know. Right. He didn't really know the backstory. And it's so funny is because why I love Modern Black Girl right now is because I get to fully walk into who I am, like fully, because back in those days, I never showed my smarts in regards to, it was all about just being the it girl, being outside, having a good time, but no one knew the topics I researched at night or the things that I loved.
Wait a second.
Yes.
You have a computer science degree. You're the smart girl. You were always the smart girl.
I was always the smart girl, but I didn't lead with that back then. You know, it's like if you know, you know. Like, a lot of my friends and the conversations and the people that I talked to, they knew, but the world on the outside, I didn't lead with that. And I'm going to be very honest. It wasn't something, and he saw that, so he quite frankly thought it was a waste of time. And what happened was, I never forget it, in our Discord chat, very on brand groups on Discord, I asked him a really simple question, like, can you explain to me, like, why is the QQQ this, or something like really basic that I just didn't quite understand as I'm trying to learn. And he embarrassed me in front of all the 300 folks and made it a joking moment. Everyone's laughing at me in the Discord. And I remember in that moment saying, okay, I'll show you. And in that moment, I spent a lot of my money. I had my initial investment, and I spent a lot of money taking courses online, reading books, trying to find mentors. I spent about 6-7 months of just intense. I didn't do anything but just study stocks and investments. And I love the idea of businesses and building businesses and things coming together. So in that moment, I was just obsessed with it. That was my new boyfriend. That was my new passion. That was my new love. Like, I could not, and it's because he counted me out. So I thank him till this day, because if he didn't count me out, I probably wouldn't have went as hard as I did to be where we are today. Because I was just like, there's no way you're going to make a woman feel this way. You're not going to make me or my identity or what you think my identity is, or people that look like me, you know. And this is not even a race thing. This is a woman to a man, right? You're not going to make me feel like I'm not valuable of learning something that can make me better. You're not going to do that to me. The world already does that to us, but you, Black man, you're not gonna do this to me. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna kill it. And in that moment, I knew that we needed a safe space. Yeah. Because once I started to build, a lot of women's like, I want to build, or even other women that was in the finance space, there's like, there's not a lot of safe place for women to talk about these things. Like, you should take lead on this. Yeah. And in that moment, this community came. And funny enough, a lot of Black men started to help me, like the nuggets that I didn't know because I was building it. And for me, I didn't go to school fully for this, but what I do know is I know how to lead because I've been in positions and I had to lead my whole life. But I also knew what I didn't know. I can hire, or I can get people to come together to create this team where people from Goldman Sachs and these big financial institutions, they started to work with us and work for us. So I had my gift, and then I had people around me to support the gift, which is now Modern Black Girl.
Now on this next piece, we're going to get a little technical. Don't let this run you off. Stay locked in. Let's get it.
So early on in the market, it opens at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Early in the market, it is very volatile, right? Volatile means it makes crazy moves up and down or whatever the case is, right? And when it comes with volatility, y'all, it could be really good or it could be really bad in regards to, in your favor. And can I tell you a quick little story about my beginning life as a trader? Oh boy, right? When 9:30 a.m. would hit, y'all, my heart would go like I'm literally on a roller coaster, because that's what I felt like. I was on a roller coaster. Sometimes I was on some really good highs, right? And I made lots and lots of money. But oh, y'all, the opposite of, picking the wrong direction and getting on that low. And your girl felt it many, many times. And I learned my lesson. And I'm here to teach you that lesson so you don't have to go through that heartache, right? With this strategy, you don't have to feel that roller coaster. Okay. So that being said, the strategy that I'm talking about is going to be called ORB. And what I'm going to make sure I do in this video for you, I'm going to explain what ORB is. I'm going to give you breakdowns of what it is and how I use it and how you can use it also. And also as an extra bonus, I'm going to give you real-time charts to show you what it looks like in real time. Okay? Because I'll make sure you understand it completely. If you like videos like this, make sure you give me a like, subscribe, because you know how YouTube does. Okay, guys? So the ORB stands for opening range breakout. Write that down. Opening range breakout. And I'm going to show you later on charts, on the chart specifically where to find it. So don't worry about that. Okay. And what that stands for, it literally stands for price action breaking out of a specific range. So you're going to get the opening range. It is the top, right? Or the highest number or the highest price of that ticker in this particular range, which is around 15 to 30 minutes when the market opens, right? So the opening range is going to be at the top, right? It's going to be the highest price. And then the bottom of the range is going to be the lowest price. So price will be moving in between the top and the bottom. Think about this as a ceiling and the floor. And if you're bouncing a ball, right, boom, it'll hit the ceiling and then it'll hit the floor. It'll hit the ceiling and it'll bounce up and down. So what ORB does and how do we use it when we're trading, right? What we're looking for is that we're looking for a break and then a retest of that range to decide if this is a trade that we want to get into. Same thing as if we were looking for the bottom opening range. We'd be looking for a break out of that range and then retest and then continue in the direction of the trade that we want to go to. So if we're looking for a break out of the top, of course, we'd be looking for a call. And if we were looking for a break and retest of the bottom, we'd be looking to enter into a put. So the beauty of these guys is it gives you some sort of confluence, right? In the sense of that you're not just trading any old way and you actually have something to look at. So when you're looking for the break and retest, I want you to also remember the volume, right? Because volatility is there in the morning and we want the volume to be there to actually go in the direction of the breakout. So volume is very important as along with the break and retest. Okay, guys? So when it comes to ORB, the opening range, we don't want to trade with inside of the range. That's called choppy. We don't trade inside of the range. We are looking for a breakout, a break and then retest and then for a continuation. Same thing for it is inside of the bottom of the opening range, right? We're looking for a break and a retest and then a continuation for us to say that, oh yeah, that's a great trade to get into. Okay, guys? So I still use this strategy to this day because it is a great way for me to have a visual to say, hey, okay, once it gets out of the ORB, it will be something that I would be looking to take. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to go on into actual charts. I'm going to get on my laptop here and I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like on a real-time chart. I'm actually going to show you where to find the indicator and my settings that I use for it so that you can mirror that on your charts just the same. See you in a second. All right, y'all. So I'm going to show you some real life examples of the ORB in action on some real charts. But first off, let's talk about finding the actual ORB indicator. So first, we're going to go onto your tradingview.com platform and you're going to go to the indicators, right? You're going to type in ORB and you're simply going to see it come up. And this is the creator. This is the one you want to add, right? So you're going to go ahead and star this one, the ORB so that it can show up on your favorites. And when it shows up on your favorites, then your setting should be this, right? The inputs are first here, 5, session time 9:30 to 9:45. Save as default. Then you go to style. This is your preference, the color you would like to see to represent your high, and then your low. Labels, price, scale, value, keep those on. Then click save as default. And last but not least, visibilities. You see I have everything clicked off except for the minutes. And then once again, save as default. And then you click OK. Okay. I'm going to give you 2 examples of ORB breakout theory, and then one of them is not actually doing that. Okay, what it looks like. So we're here on Tesla. We're on the 5-minute chart, and I want you to show you this. The market opens here at 9:30, and it is going sideways right now, going across. But here at the 1010 candle, you can see there is a clear break in the ORB. Right, break to the downside. So what we need for an ORB entry, right? We need break And then we also need a retest and then a continuation. And last but not least, we need volume to be present. And there's definitely volume here in the direction of the trade. So this is a lovely trade to get into using the ORB as your entry point, and once again use this as your stop loss, because guys, if you don't know, one of the most effective ways to have risk management is to actually have a stop loss and know where your stop loss is. So we have this as our entry and we can use this as our stop loss, and as you can see, it clearly went down and never triggered our stop loss. So this was a great trade for the downside using the ORB. Okay, next one we're going to look at is SPY on the 5-minute chart once again. And as you can see, the market opened at 9:30, created the high, which is the high ORB, and then the low, and then it's played in between here for a little bit. And then at the 10 candle, we had a doji candle that broke. But
Watch how she talks about redirecting your money and your attention. Let's get it.
The Birkin. It's more than just a purse. It's a status symbol, a cultural phenomenon, a supposed investment. But why do so many women choose this kind of quote-unquote investment over something like stocks or real estate? What does it say about us, about the world we live in, and about the way we've been taught to think about wealth? And before you think this is one of those videos, like, no, I love me a good Birkin, a good Kelly, a good fashion moment. And today's video is also about destigmatizing women's purchases and allowing ourselves that freedom as full-grown adult women. Sometimes it's not an investment, it's an expense, and that's okay. You're allowed to spend money on yourself. Back to the topic, is women buying Birkins over stocks and other traditional investments a rational response to systemic barriers in finance, a cultural trend fueled by consumerism, or something deeper, something tied to how we as women are taught to value ourselves and our financial futures? Hey bestie! Welcome to the Spoiled Girly Support Group podcast, where we talk about how to get that bag while also securing your own bag. I'm your host Elle, and let's get into it. This episode is brought to you by I Love Isla. I Love Isla offers reusable gel press-on nails in a variety of colors, and the beauty about these nails is that you can use them over and over again depending on your activity type and level. It comes in a variety of colors, so there's something for everyone. And the ones I'm wearing today are the Ruby Cat Eye, and I know they've been out of stock for a bit, but they are now back in stock. And honestly, I get it, because the cat eye is cat-eyeing, okay? Love, love, love it. And what I like about these nails is that they don't look like the press-on nails that we grew up with, and that's because each layer is made with gel instead of printed on by ink, so you really get that salon quality without the salon visit. It is absolutely nail game changing, so if you also want to change up your nail game, go to iloveeilashop.com or click the link in the description and use code MANIFESTL to get 10% off your first order. That's iloveeilashop.com and use code MANIFESTL to get 10% off your first order. Now back to the topic. I don't know if it's because it's the new year, but new year, new me, new us. I have been really wanting to talk about the feminine economy and how it affects all of our lives every single waking moment of every single day. But I just couldn't narrow down exactly what aspect I wanted to talk about. So imagine the aha moment I got when Walmart started selling fake Birkins or Firkins or Walmays or Workins for the working class. And honestly, everyone is just so creative with the names. Love, 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 love. But first, what is the feminine economy? Although the term and the concepts surrounding the term have been around for a while, much of our episode today is informed by Jennifer Armbrust's 2018 book, Proposals for the Feminine Economy. Essentially, the feminine economy is a conceptual framework that examines the economic contributions, behaviors, and dynamics uniquely influenced by women, often in contrast to traditional male-dominated economic systems. And the feminine economy seeks to highlight the often overlooked value women bring to the economy, whether through direct participation, spending power, or informal unpaid work. And if you want to learn more about the feminine economy, I highly suggest reading Armbrust's book. The feminine economy as a whole is relatively uncharted territory. And that's what makes it exciting for us as spoiled girlies, because we can be part of the change as it is happening in real time. Like, this is new-ish, and we can be part of it as it's happening, you know? And I love that for us. But before we can affect change and be the change we want to see in the world, let's look at the conditions we have to deal with. Mainly, why women buy Birkins and not stocks. Women's participation in the stock market has been increasing, yet a notable gender gap persists. Women have traditionally been less likely to invest than men, and over time, this has serious financial repercussions. The median retirement account balance was $31,291 for women in 2021, compared to $45,106 for men, according to a study by Vanguard. That is a difference of 44%. On a more positive note, investing is most popular with younger women, since 71% of Gen Z women and 63% of millennials invest. And also, women investors get better investing returns than men, with studies finding differences of 0.4% to nearly 1%. However, women aren't as confident as men in their investing abilities and demonstrate lower levels of investing knowledge. And like I said, women's investment account balances lag behind men's by up to 44%, and this may be due to the gender pay gap, but it could also be due to this confidence gap. A 2021 Fidelity study found that 70% of women felt they needed more knowledge about picking individual stocks, and 65% would be more likely to invest if they had clear steps to do so. Only 19% of women are very confident in their ability to invest money, compared to 38% of men, according to Robinhood. But in the luxury goods sector, women exert substantial spending power. Women are directly or indirectly responsible for 70 to 80% of all consumer purchasing decisions. A study revealed that 27% of women spend over £50,000 annually on luxury items, compared to 17% of men, often viewing these purchases as symbols of success or rewards. In summary, while women's participation in the stock market is on the rise, and the women who do invest in the stock market actually outperform men, and younger generations of women are increasingly investing in stocks, a confidence gap remains. Women are more confident buying luxury items versus buying stocks. Like, why are women buying bags, Birkins, luxury items as investments over stocks and other traditional assets? And is it a rational response to systemic barriers in finance, or is it a cultural trend driven by consumerism as dictated by cultural messaging? And the answer is a little bit of both. Not too long ago, 1974 to be exact, many banks required a husband or a male relative's co-signature for women to open accounts, take out loans, or obtain credit. And this all changed with the passage of the ECOA, the Equal Credit Opportunity Act, which prohibited discrimination in financial services on the basis of sex or marital status. 1974 wasn't that too long ago when you think about it. And the effects of these now illegal systemic barriers are still felt by women all around the country. You know the saying, diamonds are a girl's best friend? Well, it's because the diamonds pre the ECOA era, pre-1974, were a woman's most secure form of money. Diamonds are a girl's best friend because they will help her in times of need, like a best friend will. In those times, jewelry were often gifted to women on special occasions, and they were more than a token of affection. They were tangible, portable, and personal form of owned wealth. Diamonds in particular were very popular at this time among women because of their durability, resale value, and the cultural weight assigned to the diamonds. And also, people will always want diamonds to buy, so when women needed to sell theirs, they know they always had a market to sell to. And this
Now, this next segment is about a lady that actually works at the stock exchange. Oh, this is wonderful right here. You definitely want to stay locked into this. Let's get it.
I don't want to be, the only one breaking ceilings. I want there to be other women, minority, anybody.
Lauren Simmons is the youngest woman to be a full-time broker on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange.
Well, usually I'll say I work at the New York Stock Exchange. Oh, what do you do? An equity trader. And they're shocked, but the perception is, and especially in a lot of finance movies, Wolf of Wall Street, they are white, older men. And so to be 24 now and to be, a minority and a woman, it takes people, a second to realize like, oh, wow, you have an awesome job.
Lauren is just one of 2 female brokers on the floor.
With there being another person that is different from everyone else, it does bring diversity and new conversations and new breath to the floor. As far as looking to a mentor that looks like you, Obviously, that's not going to happen. I, am grateful that I do get to work with men that do want me to succeed. Richard Rosenblatt, my boss, the CEO of the company, he has given me so much career advice outside of the exchange floor.
The New York Stock Exchange itself doesn't hire brokers. Individual securities firms do. Rosenblatt Securities hired Lauren in March 2017. She had a degree in genetics, but no prior experience in finance.
I couldn't care less if she took finance classes. We do research, and I care a lot about your education to be an analyst for us. Here, I care about who you are as a person.
When Lauren's story was first reported on in March 2018, there was a media storm, and she felt like change was happening. But when Rosenblatt Securities posted a new broker position in May, of over 250 applicants, not a single woman applied.
I have spoken with executive women who will say that they'll post a job and, the qualifications, 10 years experience and blah, 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 blah. And the woman will have, everything but the 10 years and will say, well, I don't have the 10 years, should I apply? You're more than overqualified to apply for this job. Please apply for it. While as men, again, what I've learned from them, they just do it.
We have women applying for other jobs in the firm. I don't know why more women don't apply for jobs on the floor of the exchange.
According to a 2017 study by Stanford University, men comprised 75% of the wealth management field and filled more than 80% of leadership roles.
I think it definitely is a confidence thing in just doing it. When you are in a space where you are extremely uncomfortable and you're fear-driven and you still take the leap, that's when the biggest growth happens. So I think if more women were risk adverse and they took the chance, you would see a lot more women breaking glass ceilings and these stories just being a thing, not a oh my gosh moment. It would be normalized.
Lauren is only the second African American female broker in the exchange's 226-year history.
There's a difference on trying to have diversity, because that's the hot topic word right now, than actually implementing diversity. And the only way to implement diversity is to really truly want diversity. It's so easy to throw around a word, and you'll know in those leadership roles who is sitting at the top are all 5 white men. How diverse is it really? I can't put it all on the men and the firms on the floor, especially when it's not 100% their fault if they don't get any applicants. And I can't put it all on minorities or people who, didn't grow up, learning finance, because what you don't know, you're not gonna apply for. You're just not exposed to it. So where does that start?
Lauren believes it could start with the next generation.
Honestly, I think things like traditional Wall Street won't even be a thing. I think people will get tired of people in leadership and how they don't give them the opportunity, and they'll write their own narrative. They'll make their own hedge fund, and everyone part of that hedge fund will be diverse.
Next up for Lauren's story, the big screen. Actress Kiersey Clemons is set to play Lauren in a biopic about her journey to the New York Stock Exchange.
Okay, this next segment, pay attention to the statistics and pay attention to what the speaker says about a couple things in particular.
An increasing number of women are investing in the stock market, but they are also more likely than men to lack confidence when it comes to investing. Yahoo Finance's own Carrie Hannon is here with a closer look at the data. Carrie, what have you found?
Hey, Brad. Yeah, there was an interesting study came out from Fidelity today that shows that, 7 in 10 women are investing in the stock market, outside of their retirement accounts. And that's up from 60% last year. So it's on the rise. And boomer women are really getting rolling too. They're up 23% of these women, boomer women, investing in the market outside of retirement accounts. And the overall number is something like 9.5%. of their paycheck after the retirement savings is going towards investing in the stock market for all women. But the ones who are really on a roll are Gen Z. Okay, these are workers in their 20s, and they are uber optimistic. They are setting aside about 10.4% of their paycheck after the retirement savings, and they're starting earlier, which is so exciting for in terms of building wealth for women, that where boomer women really didn't get rolling in investing outside of their retirement accounts in the markets until they were in their 50s. But here's the problem, just as you noted, Brad. Women say that they're 2 times more likely than men to say that they're investing knowledge is non-existent. Okay, this is really troubling. And they say that they're overwhelmed, they're intimidated, and all of these things, it's a mixed bag here. So, I recently sat down in the Yahoo Finance studios to talk to a panel of women who are experts in the financial world about how far women have come in the past 50 years since the passage of the Equal Credit Opportunity Act. Let's listen to what they had to say.
Well, it's so important to recognize that financial independence is not solely based on the amount of money you have, but the access to tools and things that help you achieve freedom and autonomy in your life. And so with this act and with the power given back to women to be able to have more opportunities, more destiny, they hold their own destinies in their hands and can make those decisions. I mean, it's trickled to me and be able to obviously charge my path, have a career the way I did have a career, and then become an entrepreneur in the way that I'm talking about financial freedom and independence to help women like myself who want to achieve that freedom and autonomy in their life.
Do you notice what seems to be consistent? Confidence and knowledge. Okay? Stay locked in. Here we go. Let's get it.
Today, I'll be talking about a topic that most people find really uncomfortable. It's associated with so much shame and fear that we usually avoid talking about it. You might have guessed it, I'll be talking about money. Personally, I've been fascinated with money from a young age and the freedom that it brings. So I started working early, and by the time I was 20, I'd managed to save up a decent amount. At this point in time, I also became aware that my savings were losing value by staying in my bank account because the interest rate was lower than the inflation. I didn't work all those hours at minimum wage just to passively watch my savings decline in value, so I had to do something. This was the first time I was faced with the decision of actively managing my own money, and I had no idea where to start. I first tried getting a loan for an apartment, but I was turned down by the bank. That left me with the only other option I knew about, investing in stocks. I thought about it for a long time, but I didn't know where to start, because no one in my family or friend group invested, so I didn't know where to go for advice or who to ask. So what I did is that I started talking, and I talked until one night at a friend's dorm party where I met a guy who told me that he had been investing for a few years. And before the night was over, he'd given me a napkin with the name of a trading platform and a few pieces of investment advice. That became the beginning of my investment journey. And I took the napkin home and I started researching, literally sitting in my bedroom, wearing sweatpants, Googling what are stocks, where to buy them, and all the other basics. And then after a few months of doing that, I took the leap and made my first investment. I started out very conservatively, investing small amounts in low-risk funds, having a long time horizon. And that's when I discovered one of the best-kept secrets in the financial world, and I'm now going to share it with you. Getting started investing is actually not that difficult. Plus, it can be a lot of fun. So for me, I got more and more into it, and after 1 year, I was trading on a weekly basis, buying more advanced financial products, taking on more risk, and getting nicer returns. At the same time, I was working at a steakhouse, and there would be days where I would come home from a shift just to see that I made more money from my investments than I'd done in the same hours by working at my actual job. This was all great and I had fun, but there was still one big minus, because still no one in my family or friend group invested, so I felt alone with my hobby. And as opposed to other hobbies such as skiing or swimming that people can easily relate to, even though they don't do it themselves, then investing can be quite a difficult concept to grasp. So I just felt alone. Half a year later, I started business school. And here I had very high hopes of finally making friends with the same interest as me. But I was disappointed, because at all the events I went to and all the organizations I tried to join, it was almost exclusively guys attending. And these guys were nice and they talked to me and tried to include me, but I just always felt like the odd one out, because no matter what, I was never one of the guys. I was so puzzled by this lack of female investors, so I went home and I started to look into the numbers. I learned that in Denmark, less than 40% of the stock market's value is owned by women, and women are almost invisible in the financial industry. The same trend is seen even stronger throughout Europe and in the rest of the world. It creates a gender investment gap that highly affects women over the course of their lives, even though we rarely speak about it. If we just look at the last decade, then on average, the stock market has increased by 10% per year. That means that invested money, on average, would have doubled its value every 8th year. Now, I know that there's been fluctuations and horrible years along the way, but that doesn't change the overall trend, and it doesn't change the fact that women miss out on a lot of money by not investing. And that's problematic, because as women, we already make less money on average, we spend less time in the workforce, and we live longer. Combining all of these factors, it means that in Europe right now, women retire with a fortune that's 35% smaller than men's. 35. When I wrote this speech, I initially thought it would be a big challenge to find data from all around the world and generalize on some big trends. But unfortunately, it was very easy. Because today, there's not a single country in the entire world where men and women are financially equal. And I was not able to find a single country where women even invest to the same extent as men. I know that this all sounds very depressing, so I'm glad to tell you that there is good news. The first is that even though women don't invest a lot, they're actually pretty good at it. And when we look at historic returns, female investors have achieved very nice returns, in many years even better than the men. The second piece of good news is that as opposed to all the other gender gaps, the investment gap is actually one where we, as individuals, can do something to close it today, if we just go home and get started investing.
I'm so excited about this segment. Ladies, I'm so glad to have you. Remember what they talked about. Stay confident, build your knowledge, and just do it. Let's get this thing going. If you got any questions, leave them in the comments section. You can reach me anytime. Thank you. Have a great day, and let's get it. Before making purchases, adjust your risk tolerance for your situation. All situations are different. So again, do your homework. Thanks.